Hi everyone. So I am browning up, really browning up these green onions. I lowered the heat, but I think it's going to take a second to lower a little more. And we're going to put all of the ingredients in here that take a little bit longer to cook. So I'm going to put in some mushrooms. And get that going. Mix these around a little bit. Cover the bottom with it. There we go, so that it can get each and every part of the pan. So I'm going to let that sit for a second. Then a couple of other things I want to do. I'm going to use this organic bone broth, this chicken broth. I'm going to use that. Move this around since this is a portable stove, like a little portable jet, an electric jet, and this thing is awesome. I bring it when I'm cooking on the road, like when I'm showing people how to make different things, and I love this thing. It's awesome. Notice I'm not salting this yet, and the reason being is because I have a sauce that's pretty salty in its own right. So, next thing I'm going to do is add a nice big healthy tablespoon of hoisin sauce. Hoisin sauce gives it some sweetness. Get that in there. Let's quiet down the heat a little bit and give it a nice, lovely, salty sweetness at the same time. Then, we're going to get a little saltier and put in some oyster sauce, which I'm only going to use, it's a little bit saltier, so I'm only going to use 2 teaspoons of that. 1, 2. There we go. God, that smells so good. I love Asian cooking. It's one of my favorites. I'm going to move that around. Then, now that the mushrooms are cooking down really well, I'm going to add another brightness of color, which is the bell pepper. Now, I add the bell pepper last because I want that to be a little bit crunchier. I always add that later on, just for the crunchy effect. Then, I'm going to add a little bit of dark soy sauce. Mushroom flavored dark soy sauce. You can get this at your Asian aisle. It's sweeter than regular soy sauce. I'm going to do that mostly for color. I just splash the walls with it. That's fabulous. I'm going to mix that together. It's salty as well, but it's sweeter. It's a little bit sweeter. Look at that. Look at the beautiful deep color of that. I just love it. So that's starting to cook down. So now we're going to add a little bit of the chicken bone broth. Or, in its place, if you have some sherry, some dry sherry, or any kind of thing like that, the liquor store is closed, so I'm not able to get my hands on that. So if you are able to do that, then that'll work too. Now see how liquidy this sauce is, right? So I'm not adding anything else to it right now because when I add the meat shortly, it has the cornstarch in it, so that is going to firm right up, and that's going to make it nice and thick. So I'm going to put a little bit of ginger in here because we didn't have the fresh ginger, so we're going to use this, which will work really well, just to give it that nice kick. There we go. And we're going to raise the heat a little bit. I'm going to get this moving up. And then I'm going to move the vegetables to one side so I can get most of the liquid over here. There we go. I'm going to spread out the protein. So here's the pork that I marinated for about 10 minutes. And I'm going to put it all in here. I raised the heat. And you want to spread out the protein as much as possible. So I put in, again, this is a quick and fast process. See how it's already starting to thicken? Look at that. Look at that. It's thickening already, just from the cornstarch of the meat. So we're going to spread the protein out as much as possible. Give it a bigger surface area. Look at that. The sauce is already thick. And we're going to let this cook away. There we go. I'm going to move this in a little bit so that each part of the pork gets cooked really, really well. And if I had a bigger pan, you'd be able to see even more. But we're going to spread this out. We have the heat up further. I'm actually going to bring it up even further. And another little nice final touch that I'd like to do, we did put the hoisin sauce in here, but I also want to add a little bit of honey. The hoisin sauce adds the sweetness, but this also calls for sugar. I don't use a lot of sugar when I cook. I use honey because I go to an apiary. I don't get honey from the, I'm just going to use a tablespoon. I don't get honey from the grocery store. I get it from the apiaries, like the people that I trust that that have the beehives and everything, because I know it's going to be good. A lot of times when you get it in the grocery store, they boiled so much of the good stuff out of it that it just becomes sugar, and that's not what you want. There we go. So now I'm going to kind of dig in and let the vegetables move around. Now I'm going to make this pretty low carb. The only carb, like if you want, instead of the corn flour, by the way, corn, I call it corn flour, but it's also cornstarch. The cornstarch is actually gluten-free. So for those of you who are gluten-free, I am not, but this happens to be a gluten-free recipe. But if you wanted to make some noodles with this stir fry, here's my recommendation. I'm not going to do this today, but I'll just show you. These are vermicelli noodles. I've made these before. They come in a package like this, and you put these in hot water for 10 minutes. And you soak it, and after you soak it for 10 minutes, oh, I drank one. After you soak it for 10 minutes, you can actually put it in here, and it's going to soak up all of this fabulous flavor. Look at that. Look at the beautiful color. The pork is cooking really, really well. I love this. Smells amazing too. But like I said, you want to make it colorful. Now what I did, see these little scallions in here? You can see some of them. I waited till the end to take, I cut about 2 inches off the tops of these, and I really wanted to wait till it cooked a little bit more and then put these in. And what these are going to do, these are going to wilt. So you're just going to kind of dig this in, and it also gives it a colorful, beautiful look, and I love that. We're not done yet. There's 2 more things that I want to add to this lovely stir fry. So we got our mushrooms, which are nice and hearty. We have our colorful bell peppers for sweetness. We have a nice crunch with them as well. And we have the pork, which is now basically going to be like butter, because we cut it across the grain, and the baking soda and the cornstarch broke the fibers down. Because, you know, whenever you eat pork, some people are like, it's a little bit too tough. That's because it was cooked too long. But this is a nice little tip and trick that will change your mind about pork. You will want pork once a week or more after you try this recipe. All right, now I am going to add some Chinese 5-spice. This is where it's at. This is such a warming ingredient. It's still a little bit chilly outside. It was nice during the day. I'm going to use about a teaspoon. It just has all these different warming and lovely spices that just make you feel really calm and comforted and happy and warmed up. So I'm putting that in at the very end. And the other thing too is I like to add the pure sesame oil at the very end because I feel like it loses its flavor when you add it in the beginning. I think you should add it in the end and then you can taste that nutty flavor. Look at that. So this is our pork stir fry. I'm going to serve it up in a lovely bowl. Get every little bit of color that we can, just so you could see how beautiful this is, and hearty and comforting. There we go. There it is. That's just the most beautiful thing. I'm going to decorate it with some sesame seeds on top. You can see all the little colors in there. And there you go. That is your pork stir fry. You know what? Let's add one more thing to it. Let's add a little lime zest. I always find that when we add lime to any kind of Asian cooking, it really adds something special. And it adds a little pop of color too. So there it is. There is your pork stir fry. I hope you try this recipe. Please send me some comments and questions and suggestions, anything you'd like me to cook. But I wanted to cook this for you today. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a delicious quarantine.